Hi, Dr. Webb.
Um, in your article, you talked about student-led learning, which basically means you were running rehearsal through your students. So you started the article with the story that you told us about how the cellist wanted to change the bowing or change how the chord was played in the Tchaikovsky Serenade for Strings. And you said, no, let's just do it Davizi. But then you reflected and you were like, well, maybe we should, if the principal cellist has an idea for a bowing, maybe we should try that, or like, along the lines of that.
Yeah, so
In your research, you said that student-led learning, it was found that students had increased self-esteem and more musical growth, because like ultimately in our ensembles we want our students to be like the best musicians they can be. So like the question is, how do we get them to that level? And you talked about how a lot of directors are like, oh, we don't have time to do improv, we don't have time to do composition, but like doing those activities is what sparks growth and creativity within your students, and having your students participate in like giving ideas for bowing changes or like how they want to play a certain chord, like encouraging that will have them feeling more like active within the ensemble, and it'll be less like it'll be less you teaching them and more of them participating. Yeah, so it's kind of like a flipped classroom kind of idea. So in high school, like we would do a flipped classroom in like science class or like math class, and it would basically be us teaching ourselves like the unit, and like student-led learning is kind of like the same thing, but you're not just throwing them a piece of music and telling them to learn it. It's more of like you're guiding them, but you're letting them do the work. So there's like a couple different ideas or ways you can do this. So one example was, you said the week after the concert, do a create week. So like I remember in high school, the week after our concerts, they would kind of be like a free-for-all. We would just kind of like read through random pieces. But I feel like those weeks are like the best weeks to do improvisation and composing, because you don't have a concert to prepare for. It also gives the students like a nice break from learning like the repertoire, and a nice like fun like class like activity to do after they just perform their concert. Another thing you can do is sit next to your students while like they're playing, or like walk among your students while they're playing. So trying not to be like podium bound the whole time in rehearsal, and like making sure that each section is they're not struggling and you can hear them clearly, and you're not like ignoring a certain section because they're all the way in the back like the basses, so walking around and not being like strictly stuck on the podium. You could also video record playing tests and have other students give their peers feedback. So you can have like your violinists like pair up with another violinist and record themselves playing, or have them play for each other in like a lesson, and then like have them like not critique but like offer advice on how they're playing, what they could fix to kind of engage them in the music a bit more and have them think like a bit more critically about it. You could also have students run rehearsals like while you're monitoring on the side, obviously. We did sectionals in high school for like chamber, so like that really forced us to like organize and plan, like we're gonna meet 30 minutes before a chamber today and we're gonna run through this section. And it like, if you have to teach your section how to play a part, then like the section leader needs to learn their music. So it's kind of benefiting them in a way. Like if you have a principal or if your concertmaster is like their level's really above like the rest of the orchestra, and you give them that job of running a sectional, you're challenging them more and offering them, you know, like a higher level of like, not like a higher level of education, but like you're challenging them more, so they don't feel bored within the ensemble if that's the case. Another thing you could do is rotate seating. So just making sure that like there's not 2 or 3 people who always sit in the back of the section and like don't really play. So if you have like that rotating seating, then you know you're kind of holding them accountable for learning their music, because you're gonna eventually have to play in the front row, like closer to the front. So yeah.